everybody.
Good morning, Miss
Excellent. So good morning, everyone. Lovely to see you all today. This is a very special assembly today. We're going to be hearing some music, we're going to have some readings, and we have a very, very special guest with us today. An old friend of mine, also someone who is a fantastic support to the school, and we have Captain Fletcher here. So we will be hearing from him, and I think he's going to do a wonderful speech for us. So for everybody watching, we hope you enjoy this wonderful assembly, you find it memorable, and I think we have some great treats for you today. So over to you, Year 6.
Good morning and welcome to our class assembly about Remembrance Day. This year, Remembrance Day is on Wednesday. It is always on the 11th of November.
World War I ended at 11 o'clock on the 11th of November 1918. The first Remembrance Day took place exactly 1 year after, when King George proposed a 2-minute silence to commemorate all those who had lost their lives in war.
He said it was time that the thoughts of everyone may be concentrated on the reverent remembrance of the glorious dead. This became known as Armistice Day. But after the Second World War, the name changed to Remembrance Day and was now a day to remember those who died in any war, not just World War I. Remembrance Day itself is on the 11th of November, but in this country we mostly celebrate it on Remembrance Sunday, which is the closest Sunday to the 11th of November.
It is a time for us to remember not just those who died on the First and Second World Wars, but those who have been killed or injured in more recent wars and conflicts. You may have seen people wearing a red flower pinned on their clothes in the last few days. Does anybody know what this flower is called? Just say it out loud.
Poppy.
That's right, this is a poppy. Does anyone know why we wear a poppy today? Just say it. Because that's when they grew off the graves? Well, we actually wear it to show respect to the soldiers who lost their lives in World War I.
This is because poppies started to grow in fields where some of the battles were fought. So many dead bodies across the fields changed the chemicals in the soil, so most flowers couldn't grow. But poppies do. They still grow there today.
One man saw the poppies growing there and wrote a famous poem about it. His name was John McCrae, a Canadian doctor serving in World War I. It is believed that he wrote the poem after a good friend of his had died. He wrote about the poppies he saw growing in Flanders fields, and that became the name of his poem.
In Flanders Fields by John McCrae. In Flanders Fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the lark still bravely singing fly.
Scarce heard of it, the guns burn. We are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawns or sunset. Loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields.
Take up our quarrel with the foe, from failing hands we throw. Will torch be yours to hold it high? If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep through poppies grow in Flanders fields.
Next week, in our school, you can buy the poppies from the front desk or from your house captains. Elsewhere, they are sold by volunteers of the Royal British Legion. The money they raise goes to soldiers who have fought in the war that are still alive today, and to families who have lost their close relative in recent wars. Normally, people wear poppies on the left so that they are close to their heart. Some people believe that men should wear poppies on the left and women should wear them on the right. But this is not a rule. If you look at the Queen, she wears hers on the left too. You're supposed to position it so that the leaf is pointing to 11 o'clock. This represents the 11th hour of the 11th day, the 11th month.
Some people say that the red represents the blood from fallen soldiers, and the black center represents the mourning and sadness of those who lost their loved ones.
But the green leaf represents the grass and crops growing, and the prosperity and hope for the future that will bring after the war destroyed so much. wearing a white poppy next to or instead of a red poppy. People wear white poppies to show that they promote peace and want there to be no more wars. Here is a poem called Why Wear a Poppy by John Crawford. Please wear a poppy, the lady said. She held out one forth, but I shook my head. Then I watched and stopped, her heard them out there, her face all old and lined with care.
But beneath the scars the years had made, remained a smile that refused to fade. A boy came whistling down the street, bouncing along on carefree feet.
His smile was full of joy and fun. Lady, said he, may I have one? When she pinned it on, he turned to say, why do we wear a poppy today?
The lady smiled and her whistle away and answered, this is Remembrance Day. The poppy there is a symbol for the gallant men who died in the war.
It's because of them you and I are free, that's why we wear a poppy, see. I had a boy about your size, with big golden hair and big blue eyes.
He loved to play and jump and shout, free as a bird, raced out. As years went by, he learned and grew, and became a man, as you ought to.
He was fine and strong with a boyish smile, but he seemed with us such a little while. And when war broke out and he went away, I still remember his face that day.
When he smiled at me and said goodbye, I'll be back soon, Mum, please don't cry. But the war went on, so he had to stay, and all I could do was wait and pray. His letters told of the awful fight. I can still see it in my dreams at night, with the tanks and guns and cruel barbed wire, the mines and the bullets and the bombs and the fire. Until at last the war was won. That's why we wear a poppy, son. The boy turned as if to go, then said, thanks, lady, I'm glad to know.
I slunk away in a sort of shame, and if you or me, you've done the same. For our thanks and giving and oft delayed, for thousands were born, and thousands.
So when we see a poppy born, no reflect on the word born, by those who gave their very all, when last I to their country's call.
Let's all at home, in peace might live. Then wear a poppy, remember and give.
Mr. Fletcher!
Well, Lyceum School, Year 5 to 6 staff, thank you so much for having me today. And it's an absolute privilege to be with you. Year 6 is a marvellous assembly so far. Thank you so much for your commitment. You sang a song just before, the prayer of St. Francis, make me a channel of your peace. And some of the words there really struck me. So, where there is hatred, let there be love. Where there is sadness, let there be joy. Where there is despair, let there be hope. And today I want to focus on those things that do bring us love and hope and joy. This is Piper. 3.5 years ago, we got Piper. Piper became part of the Fletcher family. Piper is a cross between a Dalmatian and a Collie. And if you know your dogs, that is a cross between high energy, intelligence, and a lot of craziness. We didn't do any of our research, so we've been a bit shocked over the last 3.5 years. But Piper has brought us so much joy and so much love. And what I'd like to do today is to tell you a little bit about those animals that have also brought joy and love, but also loyalty to those people who have been in desperate situations, particularly during conflict and war. We depend on animals. Not just farm animals, not just insects, particularly bees. Bees pollinate. If we didn't have bees, we wouldn't have the crops that we have now, and that wouldn't produce any cereal, and the world would start to starve. Sea creatures are incredibly important. Our oceans are so vital to our own existence. People who are blind, people who are deaf, people in need, gets supported by animals all the time. We depend on animals. Now, over the years, many of these things have been awarded to people who have fought in wars and served their country. And often a medal is a sign of service to something. But before the 1930s, there was no medal for any of the animals that had helped human beings in conflict. But that changed. And in 1943, a lady called Maria Dickin, who was awarded the CBE for her services, from a charity called the People's Dispensary for Sick Animals, the PDSA, created an award that any animal could achieve while serving in military conflict. And it became the highest award that was given out. Since 1943, 71 of these awards have been given. 54 of those between the years of 1943 and 1949. 34 dogs, 32 pigeons, 4 horses, and a cat have been awarded this prestigious award. And this is it. It's called the Dickin Medal. It's a very special award. So let's hear about a few of those incredible animals who have received these awards. And when I show you these animals, I'm going to read what's called a citation. Now, a citation is a short story of how they achieved this extraordinary award. The first animal to ever receive the Dickin Medal was a pigeon named Winky. On February the 23rd, 1942, a Beaufort bomber and her crew were in serious trouble. While returning from the World War II mission over Norway, enemy fire seriously crippled the aircraft. Although the men survived both the attack and the crash, landing into the ocean, their odds for survival weren't looking good. The men were somewhere in the freezing North Sea and a long way from the safety of the nearest RAF base. When they realised that their radio was dead, the desperate crew pinned their hopes on a carrier pigeon named Winky. She was released and flew home under incredibly difficult circumstances, covering 200 kilometres across the North Sea. When her owner found the exhausted bird in her loft in Broughty Ferry, she was full of oil. She also carried no message. But this didn't deter the RAF from launching a rescue mission. By calculating the time the plane went down based on the radio signals they received, the wind direction, the time of Winky's arrival, and the effect of the oil on her speed, the position of the bomb was discovered. Her crew was rescued within 15 minutes. Without the dramatic flight of their carrier pigeon, the men most certainly would have died. A year after playing her part in the rescue, Winky became the first animal to be given the Dickin Medal. And quite right too. But before the Second World War, and before Maria Dickin had created this award, none of those animals that had been involved in conflict and given their lives whilst serving human beings in their care had ever been given an award. None of these animals. Until in 2014, only 6 years ago, this horse that had been an incredibly important part of the First World War, called Warrior, was awarded the Dickin Medal, what's called posthumously. That means after death. So let's hear about Warrior and this extraordinary story. In many ways, the story of Warrior is unique in the history of the Dickin Medal. He became known as the horse the Germans couldn't kill, and carried a general on his back into some of the bloodiest battles of World War I. Soon after arriving on the Western Front in 1914, His future was to serve at the front line for as long as the war lasted. He did so for 4 years. Twice he was trapped in burning stables. He survived fire from machine guns and mortars from the air, getting buried under rubble and held down by mud. The wounded warrior returned home when the war ended and lived on the Isle of Wight with the Seeley family until he died at the age of 32. Warrior's heroism occurred long before the inception of the Dickin Medal, but he wasn't forgotten. In 2014, he made history when he became the first warhorse to receive the Dickin Medal. The other 3 equine recipients were police horses. In addition, Warrior received the first Dickin Medal to come out of World War I. It was also the only honorary Dickin Medal so far. It was made an honorary award to commemorate all the animals that served in World War I. A wonderful story. And a beautiful horse. I'd like to show you one of the most recent recipients of the Dickin Medal. A dog called Marley. Now Marley is something called a Belgian Malinois. Belgian Malinois are extremely impressive dogs. They're often used as attack dogs by the police, so they can be quite aggressive, and they're also used as what are called sniffer dogs. So they help police and military people sniff out explosives and also people, as and when necessary. Marley was awarded this medal after his service in the war in Afghanistan, which has only recently started to come to an end. Let's hear about Marley's story.
Marley is an extraordinary Malinois. We try to take the very best of breed, and Marley's an example of that. He's part of a combat assault team, so these are the teams of highly trained soldiers paired up with their animals using the very best of technology who clear enemy strongholds, and that's what he was doing on this particular operation. A multi-story building, so very complicated, difficult for an extensive period. I mean, it was about 7.5 hours this operation went on for. He alerted the assault teams to the presence of armed insurgents. So he saved lives, there's no question about it. Their ability to sense, to smell, to warn, and it's this teaming of humans and animals, all at the top of their game, which is what's so powerful. He was blown up, suffered from grenade wounds, shrapnel wounds, debris, he lost a tooth. He also went through hails of bullets. So a very, very brave dog. You know, Marley would have been evacuated, he would have been treated immediately, which is why he's still with us today. So no, the vets are right up front with the animals, caring for them and making sure that they are ready to go for the next operation.
So not only do the animals that we live with every day bring us joy, they give us love, but sometimes they show extraordinary loyalty and resilience, the ability to bounce back with strength. And I think that we can learn a lot from this. We can learn a lot from our animals. So when we do fall still on Wednesday, and we wear our poppy, as you can see, my poppy's behind my badge here, and we wear that poppy with pride, and we wear that poppy to remember those who have given their lives, let's also not forget the animals that have also done so and served us so well with loyalty and resilience. Thank you.
Sunday the 8th, we hope you will join the 2-minute silence. We hope you will remember the bravery of all the soldiers who fought hard in the war to protect their country, to protect their loved ones at home from the dangers of war, to protect future generations, us, We hope you will remember how lucky we are in this country not to be in war. There are other countries in the world right now who are in the middle of horrible wars. It is destroying their country, their homes, their families.
We hope you will remember people whose lives have been crippled by war, whether physically or mentally.
We hope you remember the impact that racism, violence, arrogance, and intolerance has. It can cause arguments between friends, division between communities, and wars between countries. Is that what we want?
Thank you for listening to our class assembly.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. That was the most moving and beautiful assembly I've seen for many, many years. That was absolutely beautiful. Thank you to the children, all of you, for your hard work. Thank you, amazing Captain Fletcher. And we're just going to introduce you formally to our school dog, who's already helping us to feel calm. Socks has officially joined the staff team. Here we have Socks. Socks. Hello, Socks. Socks is a greyhound. Socks is a retired greyhound. Very gentle, very calm. And Socks is spending her day at school helping us all to feel calm and is actually loving being read to by the children. And if any children are feeling stressed, they can come and just relax with Socks. So Socks, welcome to the Lyceum team officially. Socks is now a part of our team, and we're going to be very calm and gentle as we go. We will all be able to have a little stroke with Socks at the end of the assembly. So thank you again for watching. We hope you've enjoyed our assembly, and thank you everybody, especially the staff who've been involved. Can we have a quick round of applause for all the staff? Can you stand up and take a bow, please? Thank you. And could Chamber Choir please just come down and so we can see you and say thank you to Chamber Choir. Chamber Choir give up their break times, they give up their lunch play to sing to us and learn songs. So all the Chamber Choir, could you come out please? And in your positions please. Let's give Chamber Choir a big round of applause. For its music. The music fills our hearts, lifts our spirits and keeps us all mentally healthy at this school. Could we please say a huge thank you to the music department. And the dances have been choreographed by our wonderful Miss Haynes. Can we say we will be broadcasting more assemblies in the future. We hope you enjoy them. Thank you for watching today. Bye-bye.